Hey there, Red Devil Nation. Welcome back for another Alumni Spotlight. Today we have a real special treat. We have Arthur Worthington and Catherine Campbell Worthington joining us. Catherine is the class of 2012, Dickinson running, and Arthur's class of 2013, Dickinson men's golf. Thank you both so much for joining us today.
Absolutely. Good to be here, Dustin. Thank you.
Let's start with you, Catherine. Just tell us a little bit about where you grew up and how you got into your sport of running.
Sure. So I'm originally from Carlisle, Pennsylvania, born and raised. Growing up, my parents had me involved in many different sports, including basketball and soccer. And one thing I recall was that I was very good at the warm-up and the cool-down. I was pretty bad at everything else related to ball sports. So that was a pretty natural transition. And in the fifth grade, I joined the track team. And it's all history from there. Ran track and cross country throughout high school as well as college. And then I'm continuing to run to this day.
Yeah. And Arthur, for you, where did you grow up and how did you get into golf and how did you find the sport?
Yeah, so I grew up outside of Baltimore, actually close to where we just moved back to. But I was fortunate. I grew up right near a golf course. So evenings in the summer was running out with the family. When I was young, both brothers, particularly my younger brother Lynn, also a Dickinson golfer, we would leave the house at 8:30 and come back at 6:30. And that whole day was spent playing, practicing golf. So it's been really a part of my life from the very beginning and still a big part of it.
You guys are the first couple that we've interviewed here and we are spotlighting that are both Dickinson athletes. Talk a little bit about how you guys made that connection and Dickinson being such a small school, how you guys met and then how you guys made that connection as Dickinson student athletes.
So athletics at Dickinson definitely is what brought us together originally. We met at a party that was hosted by the cross country team at the end of preseason. It was the beginning of my senior year and the start of Arthur's junior year. So we met that night, being mutual friends. Arthur had a good friend who was a thrower on the track team. And of course I was, attending the party as a cross country runner who had just finished preseason. Yeah.
Yeah, ironically, I was on campus early to sing with the Octals at freshman orientation. She was back early for, her fall training.
Mm-hmm.
So just, lucky me, got invited to a party and, she caught my eye.
Well, that's pretty cool. And it's pretty cool that you guys had those mutual connections. Talk about how Dickinson helps student athletes and students in general make those connections where you're able to have friends in so many different groups. Arthur, you mentioned you were in the Octals. Catherine, you had a friend who was a friend with Arthur. So it's one of those great things about this campus that people can be in all these different groups and still have friendships throughout.
Yeah, I think what's amazing about Dickinson is because it's smaller, you really get to know a lot of different people, whether it's in the CAF or different groups. I think that small school feel really facilitates getting to meet and interact with a lot of different folks. I'm a big believer that you join clubs when you go to college. You join, as many organizations as possible because you get to immediately make friendships with, people of all grade levels. So for me, it was Octals and golf. It was also, work for the school newspaper. All those different experiences help you meet different folks and help make your college experience well-rounded. And I think as you, go along your college experience, you tend, or at least in our experiences, you fall into some leadership roles, and those leadership opportunities really help set us up for a successful career path. So I think both of us, really look back on our Dickinson time as, the foundation of what, the skill sets that we're now employing in our professions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think Arthur hit on a really important point. Dickinson really allows students to explore different facets of their lives, and it really encourages individuals to become leaders in many different areas. And I think both Arthur and I took advantage of, the opportunity to get involved with many different activities on campus. And so through that, we were able to meet a broad spectrum of individuals, which really helped to, enhance our college experience.
And before we really touch on the student athlete part, you guys bring up a great point that Dickinson really encourages that. If you go to a Division I institution or sometimes bigger D3 schools, D2, student athletes don't get the opportunity to have those experiences. What about Dickinson makes it so special that student athletes can do that and that the coaches even encourage their student athletes to go get involved in other groups?
I could be wrong about this, but I feel like I remember when we were student athletes there, I think 33% of the student body were athletes. I could
That
be
is still the
wrong.
number. Yep.
Okay, so
Sort of-
you know,
sort of the-
1/3 of the population are athletes. So I think it's pretty easy to run across other athletes. And I think that's part of the fun is you get to root and cheer for your peers, go to their sporting events, their games, ask them how they're doing, and then also train, compete against each other, in the gym or whatever it may be. I think it's just part of the culture, and I think that's a wonderful aspect of Dickinson.
Yeah, and in addition, I think, Dickinson really encourages a well-bodied individual. So they really want people to be well-versed in many different aspects, as a student, academically, professionally, whatever leadership roles you're interested in going into. And then also as an athlete, we want healthy individuals who, can go out there and cultivate relationships with other people. And I think Dickinson did a wonderful job of providing us opportunities that we were able to take advantage of, which has really helped us to this day.
Yeah. Now looking at your athletic careers, Catherine, we'll start with you. One of the more decorated runners to come through Dickinson College. Talk about your time in the cross country and on the track and field program, as you were really part of a special 4 years and a great run for the Dickinson women's side. Talk about the relationships that you built, but the lessons that you also learned along the way through Coach Nichter.
Absolutely. Yeah, I had an incredibly special time as a runner for Dickinson. Coach Nichter created such a wonderful and successful team at Dickinson that I'm so lucky to have been a part of. And, I really enjoyed the team aspect. So, Coach Nichter was really all about the team and team success. And as, running can sometimes be an individual focused sport, but it being part of that greater team really allowed me to bring out the best of myself as a runner. And so, running isn't fun every single day, and there were certainly days that were harder than others, but being able to thrive on the aspect that we were part of something bigger, part of, we were a Dickinson Red Devil runner. We were the team that everyone else wanted to be a part of. And that's what truly was able to, create such a special experience. And we all really helped create, such a successful time during my 4 years at Dickinson. So both on the men and women's side of things.
Yeah.
And kudos to Coach Nichter for building that group of runners and that spirit around the program. What he's done is remarkable.
And Arthur, for you with the men's golf program under Coach Bro, talk about your experience coming into Dickinson, playing for Coach Bro, but also you had another unique experience with athletics where you also got to play with your brother. So talk about that opportunity with your time in the men's golf program.
I think one of the things that Coach Bro did really well is he understood that all of us golfers, we come from different backgrounds. We all have our own swing coaches from, basically starting off, and, our coaches know our swings and we work with them. So he let us sort of evolve as golfers and sort of lean on our coaches back home to help us facilitate our swing. He really did a nice job creating a culture around, a team aspect. We had awesome trips down to Myrtle Beach to sort of facilitate that and kick off the season. So he was a great leader and a great organizer, helping really give us an environment to succeed. Speaking of my brother, it was a ton of fun. I mentioned I grew up playing with him in summers, competing against him, sort of pushing me to get better. I'll never forget playing in my first college tournament and having him tee off in the group in front of me. And all 18 holes as we played, I kept thinking to myself, holy cow, how cool is this to see my brother right there in front of me. I did beat him that day too, so that helped too.
that always does help. Yeah, you kind of keep the bragging rights.
Yeah, not always, but
not always, but for that day at least you kept the bragging rights. And both of you, you touched on something important in both of your answers that I want to dig a little deeper into. Talk about each of you individually, the relationships that you've built with your teammates, and how your coaching staffs, but how just the idea, like the small college aspect, help you grow those relationships and help push you both, in the classroom, on the course, on the track, et cetera.
I think one thing that's really neat about Dickinson being a small liberal arts college is that athletics and academics are really integrated with one another. I mean, there are things that we can learn through the athletic process that can really be applied to academics, time management, developing relationships with other people. I think one of the really unique aspects of it is having, as an athlete, you are a teammate with those who are first year college students and third year and, second and fourth year college students. And you really get to be a mentor to those students as they're going throughout their athletic journey, but also their academic journey. And I think that that's a really special aspect of being a Division III athlete, because I mean, you truly are a student athlete primarily. You know, your academics come first, your athletics come second, and it's a really neat environment to grow as an individual during those 4 years as a college student.
Yeah, I think you're creating lifelong friendships. You know, I've continued to play golf, you know, periodically with different teammates of mine. I've actually lived with several of my teammates in different cities, and that's true. So, point is, I think, you know, Dickinson, you know, facilitates, you know, an opportunity for you to grow and work on your sport, but also to meet people and build those lifelong relationships.
Yeah, and connections in all these different facets. You know, as a science major, I was able to meet, you know, through athletics, people who are involved in all different, you know, academic disciplines, and we remain friends to this day, and we've been able to build on that awesome Dickinson network throughout the year. So it's been a really neat experience as a post-collegiate former Dickinson student athlete.
And Catherine, you must know the next question, because you touched on it with that Dickinson network. That's something that's really unique to Dickinson, in my opinion, and it's something you hear every athlete we've spoken to says the same thing about the network, the Dickinson network. You get to meet so many different people and become friends and connected with so many different people outside of your sport. If they came 10 years before you, or now they're here, they're connecting with you. Talk about why that is so important and why that's so special at a school like Dickinson, to be able to relate to alumni who have played your sport, didn't play your sport, were here 20 years before you, or are here now looking to connect with you.
After Dickinson, I decided to go into the dental health profession, and one individual in particular I met through my Dickinson connection was the one who inspired me to pursue the path that I'm currently on today. So Dr. Ty Saney has been incredibly instrumental. He was a Dickinson graduate and very involved with the very involved with Dickinson after his time there, and his enthusiasm for the dental profession really encouraged me to pursue that path. So I'm incredibly thankful to him and hope to offer, the same advice to others who are interested in going into the dental path down the road. And then from a running perspective, it's been really fun connecting with runners, especially, as a post-collegiate athlete, whether it's, I recently competed in the U.S. marathon, the U.S. Olympic trials in the marathon in Atlanta, Georgia, and there were a few other Centennial Conference runners who competed in that race as well, specifically Holly Clark and Lara Paulson, who both ran for Johns Hopkins. So it's really neat being able to connect with those runners, almost 10 years after the fact at a race that was, televised on the national level. So that was a really cool experience, and one that I'm, grateful for. If I was a Division I athlete, there's, all right, actually you can take that part out, but I'm thankful for that.
Well, I will add too, I think one of the neat things about our two sports is they're individual sports. You run alone, you play golf, alone. But at Dickinson, you get to be a part of a team while also acting as an individual. And I think that's unique. The rest of our, we'll call it, athletic careers, we might be a part of a club or, a club running team, but it's not quite the same team that you run or play golf with in college. So that's a unique time in our careers.
Arthur, you've obviously climbed the ladder of success in the finance world. Catherine, now you're in, in dental practice. How did the value of a liberal arts education and the lessons of being such a well-rounded individual and learning all these different things, how did that help you in your specific career endeavors and your paths?
To me, it comes down to two things. Dickinson, because we were involved in different at least I was involved in different organizations, it taught me, one, how to interact with a lot of different people, how to, feed off their energy or work with different folks. Taught me the importance of time management. It's for the first time when you go to college, you're away from your parents. You're not going to have people looking over your shoulder, making sure that you have to do the things that you need to do. So you had to learn, time management skills. And I think last but not least, because of Dickinson, because of different organizations we were involved with, you got leadership experience. And so you learned how to sort of, get things done. And so I fall back on my Dickinson time, a lot in my professional career, just because of those time management and leadership skills that, I think I sharpened at Dickinson.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and for me, I think, I received a really strong foundation in the sciences at Dickinson. And I think being, there are a lot of really hard science classes that you have to take as prerequisites to enter into a professional health career. And, I think Dickinson having smaller classes and more, faculty being really involved with students and research opportunities is really what, prepared me for the path that I've decided to take, which involved 4 years of dental school after Dickinson, a year of research at the National Institutes of Health, and then 3 years as a resident at the University of North Carolina as I prepared to become an orthodontist in the dental field. So, I'm just really thankful to Dickinson, again, for everything that Arthur mentioned: leadership opportunities, the ability to develop time management, and then, of course, the strong science foundation, which I will say included a lot of writing. I really thank Dickinson for the opportunity to, especially as a science major, become a really good writer. And I feel like that's something that you don't see often as a science major. So I appreciate that.
When you speak to other people and now you're, the alumni, you're in the network and you're the ones communicating with the college athletes or high school student athletes interested in a collegiate career. Why would you recommend a liberal arts institution? In particular, why would you recommend a liberal arts institution like Dickinson?
For me, I would say that the ability to create relationships with people has been integral to pretty much everything I do, right? I was able at Dickinson to be a part of a vast network of individuals from all different backgrounds. I was able to truly become a well-bodied person. And that's really carried me well into my life today, from a communication standpoint, communicating with patients, being able to develop relationships with other healthcare providers. I'm really thankful for the opportunity that Dickinson provided me with to assume leadership roles, to connect with a lot of individuals. And, Dickinson's given me so much since I've graduated, since, I left the doors of Old West many, many years ago now. And I'm, really thankful for everything that it's provided me with.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's well said. Dickinson creates an environment that gives you opportunity. And, I think a lot of times people will say, what am I looking for in a college? They'll think, hey, big schools have big football and big sports, and I want to be a part of that. Okay, great. You'll have those experiences, but what experiences are you going to be able to bring to the job force? Mm-hmm. And so, it's more than just, hanging a banner outside. You need to really evaluate a college on, what's the academic curriculum, what are the experiences I'm going to get. So whether that's athletic or the arts, I think it's unique that, I was able to sing and play a varsity sport all at the same place, and also work a job at a newspaper, selling advertisements. So I think, what type of college is going to give you the best experience to create, to work on your skill set. So when you become a professional. We're not professional golfers and runners. So
yes, that's very true. We both still love doing that, but that's something that certainly defines us, but it's not all that defines us.
Right. And, this two-part question for you guys, but what gave you so much pride in wearing the red and being able to put on a uniform that had the Dickinson logo on it and go out and compete?
For me, it was all about the people. I absolutely, Dickinson the people at Dickinson truly defined my experience there. So from Coach Nichter to all the athletes on the team, and then to just the Dickinson community behind us, supporting us. It's just an incredibly inviting environment, one that was very supportive of athletics, one that was defined by success, and it was really neat to be a part of something that has a strong history of success within the Centennial Conference. It was really neat to be a part of, and something I'm very proud of to this day, for sure.
Yeah, it's just, it's your school, right? And so when you put on the colors, you get to represent your school. Mm-hmm. And you're a part of a team, so you're also representing your peers, your classmates. So it's something that we take incredible pride in. We still do. And we'll always be proud of Dickinson and the work and the effort that we put into, playing golf, running, whatever it was. So
what makes you most proud to be an alum from Dickinson College?
Simple for me. It's the people. I look at my peers, my friends, look at all the things that they're doing in this world, all the difference that they're making. And I know that sort of falls back to our time at Dickinson. So to me, it's the people. Yep.
Yeah, I would say absolutely, the people, and truly are special at Dickinson. And I think moving forward, Arthur and I both want to do everything in our power to help continue that legacy and spirit that Dickinson, values so much for future generations of Dickinsonians. So we're very proud alums, and hope to do all that we can to continue that legacy.
And I will add, our dog Ivy, if you're hearing her whining in the background, she's very enthusiastic about Dickinson as well, so much so she wants to get on film.
Yeah,
so.
I can tell. Yeah.
Hopefully you can't hear her the whole time.
Hopefully you can mute her out.
Catherine, Arthur, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today and to share your stories and your insights into Dickinson College. I can't express how excited I am to share your journey with the Dickinson community as a whole and the current student athletes here.
Well, thank you. And Justin, thank you to you for putting this together, and of course to all the coaches that are continuing to work hard to facilitate athletic programs at Dickinson for the next student body. So thank you all.
Yes, thank you, Justin. It's been great.
Well, thank you guys. It's been a lot of fun catching up, and we look forward to seeing you guys back on campus when we are open again and having sports.
Yes,
sounds
for
good.
sure.
Looking forward to it.
We'll be there cheering on the red.
Awesome. Well, take care, and we will see you guys soon.
Awesome.
Take care. Thanks
Bye-bye.
Justin.
Thank you. Bye.